Alpha.
Oh yeah, we're gonna need to talk about this. Sony's really doing something different with their camera roadmap. What's going on, my peeps? Man, Versatile's back with another video. Back here to talk about the Sony EV10, the new vlog or content creator heavy camera. Yes, it basically seems like it's a ZV-2, if you will. It's a little thicker, which is nice. It's actually in APS-C form now, so you get a lot or basically all the functionality and improved because now you can interchange lenses. And that's one of the things that makes this a very standout camera, if you will, outside of the ZV-1 and before you really get into the true APS-C cameras, because those mostly are either photography based or a bit of hybrid based. With the EV-10, you're looking at more video based, just like the ZV-1, with its ability to still capture photos. For instance, it can capture 11 frames per second with for photography, so that's pretty nice. That's actually pretty decent, and the battery life is going to be adequate because it's the batteries, I believe, are similar to the A line, like the A6100. And as you guys see here, one of my pride and joys, I was able to purchase my first camera I was able to purchase. Yes, I did not purchase the A7 III. A6100 was the first camera I could purchase, and I purchased the lens combo and got it for $600 through B&H. Well, they're kind of doing something similar in terms of the price for the EV-10. The camera itself is $700, which in it of itself is a great deal. You can get an APS-C camera that can interchange lenses and is very video centric for $700, arguably even cheaper than the ZV-1, unless that has also taken a bit of a price decrease. That's pretty interesting. The fact that you can get an APS-C camera of that quality at that price. They got two colors, white and black. I wish they would have had a silver or a black with a silver top, kind of similar to the A7C. But it's pretty interesting what they're doing with the camera line that they have, or the cameras that they're dropping. Now, before we get into what are some of my thoughts, going forward, as opposed to what this camera can do and what I think about what Sony's actually trying to do, if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, so that way you never miss my videos, that way you can sit back, relax, and see what's cracking. And let me know down in the comment section below if you guys are interested in the EV-10. Have you tried using the ZV-1? Are you into cameras in general in terms of APS-C or crop-based cameras, or do you have a full frame like the Sony a7 III, or are you Canon? Let me know down in the comment section below. Now let's get back into the video. Now, as I said, functions and improved functions that you get with this camera. All the button layouts are focus based. Essentially, you have a button that can help you with defocusing or blur background, where it will now focus on the subject and blur out the background like any camera. So if you're vlogging or if you're just doing some level of video creation, you can get that nice creamy depth of field, of course, depending on the lens that you have on the camera. Case in point, just like this camera came with the kit lens 16-50, I believe it's the same exact kit lens that you get, unless they updated it, but you get the same exact kit lens for the EV-10. So that's also pretty interesting. This is the 16-50 millimeter f3.5 to 5.6. It gets the job done. It's a power zoom lens. I haven't had any issues using it. My wife has used it to vlog very rarely, but she would use it from time to time to create content, and now more or less I use it, and it's a great lightweight camera. The one thing I don't like is that it's really small. Like, see my pinky down here, it doesn't have much grip. I need to get a grip for this. I'm getting a small rig one soon, but you're gonna have similar compact size with the EV-10, and that's pretty nice. There's also another button that's on there that you can toggle on and off for face softening, to give more of a glamour look. You have a button on there for basically subject detection or object you know, object showcasing or whatever, where if you put something in front, instead of having to hide your eyes so it would focus like this, it should focus on my hand. And I've actually increased the speed of my focus transition. But you can do that with a click of a button, where it will actively focus faster on the object you put in front of you, and it's not locked onto your eyes or your face. And then when you move the object, it focuses back on you. That's pretty nice. And then of course, within the settings, you can change the speed of your focus transition, if you will. That's pretty nice. I like that. And I like the fact that there's a record button right on the top. And one of the things that they've implemented with the, I believe even with the newer Sony a7R4A, which now has replaced the Sony a7R4, the a7S III, I believe, has it also, or it came in an update. And then the Sony FX3 is when you press record, there's a actual button on the front of the camera now that lights up to let you know you're recording, and your viewfinder lights up with a red box around it to let you know that you're recording. That's a function that I wish that they would send to all the cameras in general. And the reason why I think they could do that is because one of the catch-22s, if you will, with the EV10 is that the viewfinder is articulating. You can flip it out to the side and rotate it, which is great. They have accomplished that with the a7S III, I believe with the a7R4A. If not, makes sense as to maybe why not, because it's more photographic than videographic. And then they also done it with the FX3. But the thing that they did not include with this new viewfinder is the new settings screen. Yes, one of the things that people have raved about is the touch screen and the abbreviated, or kind of, I don't want to say fixed, but they've definitely improved or upgraded or updated the menu. One of the things that some people you've gotten used to, like me with Sony cameras, some people who they despise it with their Sony cameras, but they still put the old menu on the EV10. That, I don't know why they did that. I wish they would have gave the EV10 the new menu, because frankly, all their cameras should have the new menu now anyway, because it just works that way. Whether or not it's touch friendly, you should at least have the new menu function, and maybe they'll include it in the software update. But I do feel like they could at least incorporate some level of record function to let you know you're recording with the software update. Now there is a flash light, I believe, an LED on the front, so even if it just glowed white for like the a7 III, if they send it out in the update, or on here there's like another little light right here, if you could even illuminate that white, or if it is LED friendly and it can go red, like I think they can do that with a software update. But in terms of the EV10, I do like what they've done with the EV10. The fact that you can get a ZV-1 basically with an interchangeable lens and its APS-C form, which is amazing. Now here's where I think Sony is, they may be throwing us through a slight loop with their camera roadmap. I'm starting to feel like we may not get a Sony a7 IV. The a7 III dropped, I believe, in 2017 or 2018. I don't think it was 2019. I got mine in 2019, but I don't think it dropped in 2019. Now it would be interesting if it did drop in 2019, but look at almost how fast they turned around from an a7R III to an a7R4, and then put a bigger bigger sensor in there, 61 megapixels or something like that. So, and then with the Sony a7R4, they discontinued the R4 with the R4A, which did some minor improvements. And of course, one could argue maybe some much needed improvements, and it's always those quality of life things. And then of course the a7S III, although it was a long time between the a7S II and the a7S III, and then the FX3, which now endorses the cinema line, but missing a few cinema features from their actual FX line. When you look at what they're doing, and then as I said, they constantly drop in APS-C cameras. The a6100 came out, I believe, last year, 2020, and then the a6600 likewise came out the same time. If it wasn't 2020, it was late 2019. And then of course the two full frame cameras I just mentioned in the a7S III and the FX3. The a7 IV has been non-existent. Every time we hear a camera dropping from Sony, we're always thinking Sony a7 IV, people putting out their wish lists, things that make sense for an a7 IV upgrade, or for a camera that will largely be in that $22,000 to $2,500 price point. It still hasn't came out, and you see that they're really trending in the direction of vlogging and heavy content creation or video creation. And that's why we got the ZV-1 last year and the or the EV10 this year. I don't think we'll get the a7IV in the form that we think we will. I think that we're gonna get the a7IV-ish in the realm of another content heavy or vlog heavy camera, such as the ZV-2 or the EV-20 or whatever. It may have a different name because of what it's doing, but I think we're gonna get a camera very similar to the ZV-1 and EV-10, but it will be full frame with interchangeable lenses. I think that's the direction that they're going. I don't think we're gonna officially get an a7IV. And if we do, it could be down the road, just like the a7S III was down the road from the a7S II. But I think right now we may not actually get an a7IV. And think about it, unless, I mean, Sony does seem like they're playing the same game as Samsung when it comes to cannibalizing their own sales with their own, you know, products, which I guess is good for business. If they release a Sony a7IV, it makes it very enticing to get that over the a7S III. See, content creators like me, who also do professional work outside of YouTube, are drooling over the a7S III, but that price point is crazy. All right, so when you look at the a7IV coming in at $1,000 cheaper and you can get 4K 60, that's really all of us, that's kind of all we need to get good slow-mo and be able to fully commit to a 4K timeline for editing. We don't even have to have 4K 120. Now, granted, the a7S III is a complete beast, so you got additional color depth in terms of, you know, 10-bit 420 or 422. The different formats of 4K or video files you can shoot in, of course. It's a 12 megapixel camera, so you're almost looking at this Sony a7IV with a comparable sensor at double the megapixels. The Sony a7IV may not come with all of those additional features or broad range of expansion in terms of color depth. Now we might still get 10-bit, but we might get 420 as opposed to 422, which will be fine. And then 4K 60, and then again just additional little other features, the articulating viewfinder from the side, and the new menu option. That's something that we all look forward to, of course, with the Sony a7IV. So if they do drop that, it would put a dent in the a7S III, I think. Granted, the a7S III is really geared towards higher production, and then with the FX3, it makes it hard to kind of choose between the two because the FX3 is a smaller size camera. I mean, it's almost similar size to the a7 III as opposed to a6100, but it is smaller in size. Got mounts for different equipment you can attach to it, but of course you might go in the realm of a cage for it. And then you get that XLR microphone handle top for the FX3 for $3,800. So you're looking at spending an additional $300 and getting the cinema line FX3 as opposed to, because it's $3,500 otherwise, but I think you have to pay, I think you have to get the bundle. Like they come together. I don't think you can really get them separate. So $3,800 for the FX3, $3,500 for the Sony a7S III. It's really, you're not going wrong picking either one, because you do get that S-Cine tone that Sony has for their, you know, for their color grade or picture profile. So again, that Sony a7IV fitting in that $2,000 to $2,500 range, it would be great for me, because I could actually scoop that up much faster than the a7S III, and then complement that with the a7 III and the Sony a6100, and I have an adequate production setup, or a production kit, if you will, to get work done. And even though I may still want the a7S III, when profit gets really good, you know what I'm saying, I could get something like that with the FX3, and then I wouldn't say retire this baby, but I'll have an a7 III, a7IV, and then the S3 or the FX3. So, but yeah, that price point and what they would include in it is what really, it may hemorrhage, if you will, the a7S III, but of course they may not mind, because people are still buying the a7S III. I would still want to buy an a7S III down the line, of course, unless there's an update with an a7S4 or something like that. But it's interesting to see that the EV10 coming out is super solid for what it's trying to do. It's a true evolution of the ZV-1 with interchangeable lenses and the additional features and upgrades that it provided to the EV10 for $700, or with the kit lens $850. Great price. If I were you and you were even if you weren't making YouTube videos and you just want a nice camera that you can run a gun with, shoot some good stuff with, get it. I would recommend getting the EV-10. But again, let me know down your thoughts in the comment section below, what you guys think about the EV-10, Sony's camera map in general. Let me know down in the comment section below. But again, as always, if you guys haven't already, I would greatly appreciate if you guys can like the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so that way you never miss my videos. And we can sit back, chillax, see what's cracking. It's your man Versatile signing out until the next video. Clink, 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 clink. Wait for it.